Hi, it's Karen, the Weekend Craftaholic. Thanks for joining me, and today I'm going to work through my one little word for April. So before we get started, I'll give you a little quick recap on how I went with March. Now, March is one of my favourite prompts because it's the practice one. So you can see here they give you a little bit of a tracker, and you can see I didn't quite make it on every day. Those little diamond dots indicate the days that I did manage a little bit of self-care, and throughout the month I did actually come across feeling a little bit more positive and felt like I had contributed towards my goal. Now, April is all around letting go, and you can see here this is some of the lettering that Ellie Edwards does. This month we actually got a digital download kit of some images, as you can see here. I used the Dear You and From Me from the digital download, as well as the I Am Letting Go. I added it to that image below as well, which I found off Google. So what I'm going to do today is simple process. I am just gonna pop these in my pocket page notebook. So you can see here it's nice and clean and simple. I also added in this Word document the April prompt, or the sign for April, the monthly one. If you bought the physical kits, I believe that they were fabric months, and I've just put that in there now as my front page on here. Now you can see here I've got a couple of Distress Oxides. These are Worn Lipstick and Spun Sugar. These are two of my favourite pink colours. And my album's got a bit of a pink theme going through it, which is unusual for me. I'm normally like a blue or a greeny colour gal, but I'm enjoying keeping on the pink theme for this. And the words that I cut out, or the Word document that I printed out, I should say, with these images, a little bit smaller than the page. So I knew I wanted to add a border to it. Now I'm not going to make you watch all of this. I think you get the gist of what I'm doing here. Just doing some repeat stamping, and these are just a couple of love heart stamps that I keep in my stamping drawer. One of them I use for my little swatch books, and the other one is, I don't know why it's there, to be honest. Both of them are from Lawn Fawn, so whenever I find random stamps after I've done a stamping session, I've got a little tub that I just stick them into, so I know where they are before I put them back again. So you can see here I'm just mixing up the two different styles of love hearts, as well as using the two different shades of pink. And I think that's about it. It looks okay. I realise I probably need to trim down the paper that I'm going to glue in, make it a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to do that now as well. And you know, I only realised watching this back, when I look at that actual font, the lettering of Let It Go, it looks really odd, doesn't it? The E and the T just looks so much thicker than the rest of them. I hadn't even noticed that at all when I was printing it out or actually putting this layout together. But looking at it on camera, it looks a little bit odd, doesn't it? But I'm not going to go back. I'm going to let it go, excuse the pun, and I'm just going to get this layout done in my book. I didn't do an awful lot of crafting in March, and I've got lots of plans and things that I want to do throughout April, which is why I've actually tackled this prompt quite early on in the month. It's actually the 5th of April today. It's Easter Monday, the day that I'm putting this together. So I'm glad to get this out of the way. Sounds terrible, but no, I'm glad to be able to work on the prompt pretty soon, because that means the rest of the month I can focus on what I've written. So you can see here I've wrote a couple of letters to myself, or reminders about letting go, and whilst you watch me adhere these as well into the book, I'll talk a little bit about that. So my word is time, and one of the things that I've written down here about time is just letting go of that guilt, that responsibility or obligation of feeling that I can't say no. So if there's demands on my times with things that I don't really want to do, I've got to let it go. I've got to be strong and actually say no. So that is going to be my challenge starting this month, but obviously continuing it throughout the year as well. So it is a little bit plain. I've decided here what I'm going to also do is just do some little blending around the corners of this before I insert it into the pocket page itself. This is, like I said, one of my favourite colours, but I've realised as I'm doing this I probably should have planned a little bit more ahead. This was just printed on plain copier paper. It's not on blending cardstock at all, so it doesn't have a really good blending effect, and it's also quite thin. You saw me adhere that together. I didn't do the edges at all, because even when I was adhering it together I didn't even think about how it would look in the pocket and whether I'd want to decorate this page at all. But I've decided to do it. It's a little bit tricky. I'm holding it down as best as I can while I get these edges coloured in. So again, nothing too fancy, nothing too dramatic, but just to add a little bit of decoration when I'm flipping through in my pocket page notebook. So again, I'm not gonna let you watch all of this. You get the gist of what I'm doing. I'm sure you're horrified looking at this blending and the mess that I'm making of it. But yes, I'm not going to go back and redo that. Now this is where you'll see in a minute what I'm talking about, but this is where I realized my mistake as well, because I thought instantly that I needed to start blending at the back of this as well, so that when you flip over the pocket page and look at the next two sides of the monthly prompt, you would then see this second letter as well as the image that I printed from Google. But it's only actually once I put it in the actual book, put the image next to it, that I realised the colour scheme is completely out of whack. And it did go through my mind whether or not I should go back, reprint the letters, maybe do the colouring in a different colour just to blend a bit nicer in the photo. Can you see here what I'm talking about? I felt like I probably should have used some more of that orangey colour, or even the yellow. You know, I could have used this scattered straw, or I don't know. Could have used quite a few of the other different colours. I did pause quite a bit at this point. I've edited that out as I was kind of in limbo wondering what to do, but I thought, no, I'm going to plough ahead. This was perfect timing, perfect example, because the whole prompt is about letting go of that perfection as well. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to practice it. I am going to stick it in, and I'm not going to be concerned about the fact that the top part of this pocket page looks completely different to the second half. I'll be completely honest though, it is triggering me and making me twitch and making me want to do something about it. Even in my mind, as I'm doing this repeat stamping on this second page, I'm thinking, I wonder if I could blend over the image itself. I wonder if I could replace that sunset with one of the pinks. But I thought, no, let's just do it as a test. Let's just leave it. It's not the end of the world. No one's even going to look in these pocket page notebooks. Let's be real. How often do we even look back into these? But yes, it's something that I will, when I do some journaling, I'm going to actually make comment about that as well, just as a bit of a reminder for myself. So you can see here, I've done most of that. It's a little bit of a smaller image. It doesn't fit quite as wide across. So I did go in a little bit more on the edges. And that is my layout done effectively. You know, it's pretty quick. The video is 10 minutes long, but probably took me about half an hour from start to finish, and I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite pleased with that. Now I did have these little rhinestones or this bling left over from the merch prompt, so I thought I may as well make use of them while I've got them out, and they are still in that colour theme. So this is my little bit of embellishment going on here, and you can see, I think you get a sense when you watch me craft, certainly I do when I look back at watching myself when I do voiceovers like this, just how indecisive I am. But that's the kind of crafter I am. I know some people plan it out, they have an idea, they know exactly what they're going to do before they sit at the desk, but I just wing it every time. I don't know what I'm going to do until I sit down and do it. Obviously, one little word's pretty good, because you do need to do a bit of prep. You know, this month, for example, writing a letter to yourself, reminding yourself of letting go and ways you can let go. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. I do like that nice big scripty font. I like how simple it looks, nice and clean. Doesn't need too much going on. I think the border that I've done with the love outs adds enough fussiness to finish it off. And yes, that is my prompt done. Doing one little word this year. I hope you're getting on great with your word as well. If you've never heard of it, the links are down below as always. But other than that, have a great crafting week.